General items. Okay, moving on to disposition and development agreement for the Feather River Mill and associated properties, presented by Darren Gale, the Economic Development and Public Affairs.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I don't know if I should take it personally that my wife and 2 daughters left as I was getting up. So I promise they've heard about all these projects at home. So tonight, it's a pleasure to be before you on a project that's many years in the making. The city owns a variety of different properties, or used to own, the redevelopment agency, a variety of different properties. And this is a map of all of the former RDA properties. On the left-hand side, there's thank you, Gerald. There's a few properties over here which have been sold, so that has not been updated. But this demonstrates the commercial properties that the successor agency owns. And tonight we're here to talk about the Feather River Mill site, which is this parcel here and this parcel, so 7.5 acres. A little history. We really kind of have hopscotched around to kind of get to where we are today. In December of 2010, we entered into an exclusive negotiating agreement with the Noyan Company. And today, in 2017, we're finally to the point that we can move forward with the project. Sorry. And it's really exciting. I mean, this has not been an easy process. But one thing I like to highlight is we went through a public process to identify a developer to work with the city. And that was a public process. And 7 years later, that developer continues to stay with us and has spent a significant amount of money and resources to move this project forward. And through that time, the state eliminated redevelopment agencies. We went through the process of identifying contaminations, needs for environmental remediation. And today, we have before you a DDA. A little bit about the Noyan Company. As I mentioned, a competitive process. He has significant experience in Fresno, really working with a variety of tenants. He has done work here. He is homegrown, a local Yuba City resident who grew up here and moved away. He has a great development team that understands how to remediate properties. He developed a project in Fresno, which is on top of an actual former landfill. There we go. That's appropriate. I started to say dump, but that's not the appropriate word. And if you go there today, it's some of the highest, well, it is the highest end car dealers are all on this development. So it's a beautiful project. And the project has adapted since 2010 to meet current market conditions. A little bit about the DDA. Number one, the project is being sold at an appraised value, which is $1. When we say $1, that's because the developer is taking on the liability to clean up this property, which will be well over $1 million. And this appraisal was done by a top appraiser out of Sacramento. And they do a majority of the appraisals that we do on commercial property with the city. Another thing is the developer is required to begin remediation. After 90 days of close of escrow, the developer also has 180 days to close escrow on this project. It's also a requirement that Mehmet Noyan really remains the lead on this project, that he can't sell it off to someone else. And then also there's a timeline for development. I know that Mr. Noyan is here, and I believe he'd like to speak and maybe introduce, would you like to speak, Mr. Noyan? And introduce a couple folks who are with him. I know that he has one tenant that is very interested in the property, and a lot of this project really goes with that 4-phase improvement along the Bridge Street corridor that the council has talked about. And the moving forward, as you know right now, the Fifth Street Bridge replacement project is out to bid, and hopefully those bids will close real soon, and they'll be able to open up those bids very soon, which will begin that project, which will be really a catalyst for this project moving forward.
All you have to do is introduce yourself to the public.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Mehmet Noyan. I reside at 685 West Alluvial in Fresno. And I just wanted to say, I wanted to thank staff, Darren, and planning, and your public works people. This has been a long journey. 7 years is a really long time. My wife would tell you that I'm very impatient, and for me to be able to stay with something for 7 years is pretty remarkable. We all wish that this could have happened sooner. I couldn't have imagined back in 2010 that we'd be here 7 years later, but I believe things happen for a reason. And I think the reason is, in the 7 years since we started this project, the economy has improved. Hospitality is a much stronger basis than it was during the early part of 2010. There's industry, there's commerce, there's actual activity both in Yuba City and Marysville. And I really think by waiting, we've created a better product. So for that, I think it's been worth the wait. There's some people that I'd like to introduce today, people that have traveled quite a distance. Probably the most important person I'd like to introduce is my mother, Frances, my sisters, Angela and Nikki, and my niece, Kelsey. So thank you for coming. Thank you for your patience. I also have Mr. Prakash Patel, who is president of Lotus Management, and his wife. I'm not going to embarrass Prakash, but he has operated 18 hotels of different flags throughout Northern California and Oregon. They are currently, they operate the Holiday Inn Express in Oroville. They are in for plan check for a Holiday Inn Express in Chico, and the plan is to build a Holiday Inn Express on Feather River Mills. So I think his being here is evidence of the interest that we have in our site. So thank you very much, Prakash, for coming. The other people that I want to introduce are two friends of mine that will also be very, very involved in this. Jeff Croker, Jim Christian. Jeff is president of Croker Demolition and Excavation. Jim is Christian Construction. And I've worked with these gentlemen for 25 years. Darren alluded to the project that we built in Fresno. That was the old dump site or the landfill. That was a 235-acre piece of land that was a cotton storage facility that was an infill site that sat vacant for 40 years. I started in 1993. We had the alphabetic soup of environmental issues that started on the project. I had a lot more hair then, and it was a lot darker. So, but today, that project is 100% built out. It is worth about $500 million on a property that was on the tax rolls for a little over $1.5 million when we started. So it's been a very, very successful project. With the help of these gentlemen, we cleared the site, we covered up the landfill, we demolished the buildings, we paved 4.5 miles of streets. And so I'm bringing the same team of people that did the project in Fresno to Yuba City to work with us and also to be partners in the project with me as well. I have an architect out of Chico that you're probably familiar with, Scott Gibson. Scott has worked on other projects in the Yuba City, Marysville area. He will be working with us and Mr. Patel on the master planning of the site. We either have some targeted uses too. We have some retail, we have restaurant. I really have a strong desire because I know there's a need in Yuba City for some sort of a banquet facility. I'm going to target, there are actually local folks that are interested, and there's also some chains that do that. So that's one of my targets in the second and third phases of this project, is to make an aggressive approach to go after those guys. So we talked a little bit earlier about the project before. It's mixed use is the new mantra in commercial real estate. Retail, that was my background. Retail is changing. It's evolving into bricks and mortar. Seem to be going away, and it's all e-commerce. It's not all e-commerce, but it definitely is changing. Mixed use is a combination of residential, retail, office, and it's kind of a live, work, play environment. And that's what we want to create on this site. We think that there's a cohesiveness that can be done with the various uses that have expressed interest. So that's the end result. That's what I want to deliver to my hometown. There's a lot of pride in coming back here and doing this, and I'm just thankful that you allowed me to hang in here for 7 years. So thanks very much. If you have any questions of me or my team, please feel free.
Any questions, comments from council at this time? I remember 2010 when we were in competition with you at the Housing Authority.
Correct, yes.
And you definitely did have a better product at that time, and what's resulting, it looks good. The
Thank you very
state of
much.
California threw a lot of wrenches into the mix there for a few years.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
And to the mayor, Mehmet, one of the things that I really want to say to you is thank you for sticking around. Thank you for believing in what can be done and what will be achieved at that site. A lot of my discussions down in Sacramento at SACOG have been around that development, and that certainly moved the marker forward for getting the Fifth Street Bridge where it is today, where we will receive the bids on that on Thursday and open those and begin the process of the construction on that the new bridge, our Phase 2 project. We move forward into trying to complete Phase 3 as soon as we can get that 2-phase done, and that will be a whole new gateway into our downtown area, and certainly you're going to be that marquee piece that we look forward to being on that site. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
To the mayor for me.
Yes.
Hey, Mr. Noy, me too. I just wanted to thank you for your time, your willingness to take this project to Yuba City. It's so nice that you're homegrown here from Yuba City. You've had a lot of experience and certainly the resume to bring a successful project to us. You have, from what I've seen so far, developed an A team. You even have your family here supporting you in everything you're doing. I think that's great, and it means a lot. And couple this project with the mixed use in that area, along with the Fifth Street Bridge project, it's going to be basically a springboard into a vibrant future for Yuba City, and I appreciate your effort and time.
Thank you.
If you ever want to move back to an area that has lots of water and isn't as dry, we definitely have water in this area.
You have water. We have
water.
none.
Just thought I'd poke you a little for that. Is there any comment from the public? I'm going to open it up for that, just because it's such a big deal. Seeing none, like action from council?
Move staff's recommendation on moving this project forward into the next phase.
I'll second.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hey, we'd all love to second this one.
You would.
All in
green,
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, it's passed unanimous with encouragement. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just to remind the council, you were also acting as the successor agency. You
A and B.
You just took 2 actions. It was
A and B.
appropriate. I just wanted to point that out.
Yes, it was A and B. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have the
Awesome.
sign
Thank
agreement
you so
right
much.
here.
More people running out on you. Thank you for all showing up.